Hello and welcome back to the Advanced Conversation class. Professor Kent Lee here. I hope you did well on your midterm assignments. I'll be still in the process of grading all those for my various classes. I will email feedback to you as soon as I can. We are going to continue talking about misconceptions. We talked about misconceptions about gender earlier. And actually, this is really the unit for the rest of the semester. This is actually the beginning of the misconceptions unit. It's a whole unit, and it comprises pretty much the last part of the semester. So we are going to talk about different kinds of misconceptions, and this will be the basis for your final presentation. We'll have a little bit more to say about that later. For your final, you're going to choose a particular popular misconception, and you're going to give a presentation about it. You're going to have to look up information, kind of research or find information on it. This could be a number of different kinds of misconceptions. You're going to choose one that is kind of important or relevant, one that has some social importance for today, for now, in general, in Korea or in another country that you're familiar with. Because this is becoming an increasing problem for societies, for democracies. So we are going to talk about this because it is important. It is culturally important. It's an important aspect of culture and academic English, as the focus of this course is academic English discussion. We can't do a full conversation class as we should. Doing this online is just not really quite possible. And with the whole semester being online, as it's going to be, your final presentation is going to be an individual presentation about some topic related to this. I usually do a group presentation, a group project based on this, but that's not really doable with the whole semester being online. So I'm going to give you sort of an overview here in this video segment about some of the different topics and some ideas, and so you can start thinking about what you're interested in. We have talked about pop psychology. We've also talked about gender issues, some general gender sexuality misconceptions. So we've already talked about that. We're going to move on to some others this week. We are going to talk about misconceptions about health and health news. So for example, is it true that drinking coffee is bad for you, or chocolate is good for you, or chocolate is bad for you, eggs are bad for you? We're bombarded all the time with information like this from the internet, social media, and general news outlets, news sources. A new study says this is good for you. A new study says this is bad for you. And if you're a typical member of the public, you might be confused by this. And that's understandable because there are problems with how this stuff is reported in the general news media. And we'll talk about that. How to properly understand news that comes about science and medical and health issues, health news, or information you hear on the internet. It's maybe not news about some new study that says, hey, this is good for you. It might be a relative who says, here, eat this. This is good for your brain. Do you believe that? This is good for your heart. This one food, it'll be good for your heart. Really? Do you believe that? We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to also talk about related alternative medicine and quack medicine. So quack, that's a good kind of slang term. It's used also legitimately to talk about really, really bad or fake medicine. A quack is an old slang term in English for a bad doctor, an incompetent doctor, or a fake doctor. So a doctor who's really bad. So we'll talk about some fake medicine, and then a little bit later on, next day, we'll talk about misconceptions about science. We're going to talk about fake science or pseudoscience. So pseudo means false or fake. It's a Greek prefix meaning fake or false, so false science. So something that is outright fake science, or it pretends to be sciencey, it pretends to have some scientific merit or scientific basis, but it doesn't. And we'll see some examples. There is also parapsychology. So para means alongside, so this is not real psychology, but totally fake stuff. So ESP, extrasensory perception, the idea with your mind you can sense, oh, what something is going to happen, or what someone else is thinking, or can kind of predict something with your mind, things like that. So these are sort of pseudo-psychological phenomena. They pretends to be psychological, but it's not at all scientific. Paranormal, so para means beside or alongside. So actually stuff that's outside of the normal experience, ghosts and haunted houses and superstitions and supernatural phenomena. There are actually scientific explanations for some of this, or a good deal of that stuff, actually. We'll talk about that. Aliens and UFOs. While scientists believe there probably are alien races, the stuff that you hear about aliens and UFOs, UFO sightings, alien sightings, is it believable? Or is there a better explanation? There are better explanations. By the way, there is such a thing as UFOs, because UFO means unidentified flying object. Yes, there are flying objects that are not identified or hard to identify. So yeah, there are UFOs. It's just that they can be identified with some analysis. There are several scientific explanations for supposed UFOs. And sometimes it's just made up. Which leads us into the next topic, stuff that's kind of more made up, urban legends. So it's an urban legend is a story that gets told among people, a popular rumor, myths and hoaxes. So for example, I don't know if you've heard this in your culture, my culture when I was young, ever hear about the woman who gave her dog a bath and she wanted to dry it off, so she put the dog in the microwave oven and microwaved her dog, poor doggy. Now, that's the kind of story we told each other as kids. There might be some factual basis. I've heard claims that it has happened somewhere, that's been documented in some small town newspaper or something, maybe. Or more likely stuff that's fake, some kind of scary story maybe kids tell each other, teenagers tell each other to entertain each other. Oh, I heard this is really true, and some story about a couple drove their car into the forest and they were chased by a serial killer, and maybe they got away, or maybe they got killed by a serial killer. A couple of different stories like that I've heard. It turns out they're actually inspired by some old horror movies. So a lot of these are made up. Well, we'll talk about some more examples. And today the label of urban legend has been kind of expanded to a lot of things that are just false rumors, but it maybe has some kind of a story behind it. So for example, Starbucks. I don't know if you like Starbucks. I like their coffee, but it's a little overpriced. I buy the coffee beans and I brew it at home. It's cheaper. Little tip. Supposedly, the logo of Starbucks, it is said, has some secret, maybe evil or satanic meaning. Total nonsense, but it's an urban legend. There's a story that gets made up as to how it got there and why it was made. Same thing about Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is a big American company. I don't really like the company because of some of their business practices, but it's a big company. They make a lot of different household products, cleaning products, bathroom products, a lot of stuff. They make from toothpaste to detergent to, dish soap, all kinds of stuff they make. And I'm not crazy about the company, but I don't like the false rumor. There's a false rumor. This has been around for a long time, that the Procter & Gamble logo is a satanic symbol. It has some evil satanic imagery and meaning behind it. And there's a story behind, supposedly, about how the founder of Procter & Gamble created it to promote, some satanic plot, which is complete nonsense, because the founders of the company were Christian of some kind of Christians. And then finally, we're going into conspiracy theories. And you may have heard of, I'm sure you've heard of conspiracy theories. There are lots of different conspiracy theories out there. Oh God, there's so many now. It's just overwhelming. And we'll talk about different kinds. There's alien conspiracy theories. I love the X-Files, but it's kind of a problem if you really believe that stuff is true. It's science fiction. Come on. It's good science fiction. I like X-Files. As long as you don't believe it, it's fine. Illuminati theories. So you've probably heard about the Illuminati. A lot of my past students have heard about Illuminati stuff. So I think a lot of you may be familiar with these kinds of conspiracy theories. And we'll talk about these theories and where they come from and why people believe them. So it's not just kind of debunking. So debunk means to kind of disprove or show why something is wrong. It's not just about debunking them, but to understand the theories and where they come from and why people believe in it. And maybe what can we do about this as a society when so many people believe in this stuff and this stuff gets spread so quickly now through social media. All of these kinds of ideas get spread through social media. And we'll go through and we'll talk about maybe some related ideas along the way, some that may not be so bad, and some that are probably not helpful or not healthy. So I just want to leave you with a couple of questions. Are these kinds of beliefs harmless? Is it okay if somebody believes in this conspiracy theory about the Illuminati and pop and rock singers, or the Illuminati and the US government? Is it harmless? Are these ideas harmless? Or other kinds of misconceptions, misinformation about science or health, medical news? This is good for you, eat it, says your well-intentioned auntie or something. Pop psychology rumors, urban legends and popular rumors. Are these harmless? Why do people believe in this stuff? And how could such misinformation maybe be unhealthy or even harmful in some way? And so we're not just to put down people for believing this stuff, but we want to understand also why people believe in this stuff and what can be done about it. So I'm going to leave you with those questions to think about at the end of the video segment. And I also want you to start thinking about what you would want to do for your final project. There's a whole menu, it's a whole big buffet of things to choose from here, all kinds of stuff you can choose from for your final project. Pick one of these, pick one particular rumor or urban legend or conspiracy theory or pseudoscience, and kind of take it apart and talk about it, analyze it for your final project, for your final presentation. It's mainly going to be a video presentation, an individual video presentation. It'll be similar to the midterm, maybe a bit longer. And we'll kind of break it up and have you do some little bits of it and practice in bits as short video assignments before the final. So there's a lot of stuff to choose from. So this is important for understanding academic English and having intelligent conversation with people in English, because these are topics that increasingly dominate public discourse and discussion in social media. It's important for developing critical thinking skills and for cultural awareness. Not only for English-speaking cultures, but also, this stuff is coming into Korean culture and other cultures through social media. So I'll leave you these questions. Are these harmless? Why do people believe in this stuff? In the next video segment, we're going to start talking about health misconceptions.